everybody, it's Adrienne Graham, CEO and founder of Empower Me Corporation, www.empowerme.org. Gotta throw that in there. And I'm back with you with another segment of Ask Adrienne. If you haven't gotten your question into me yet, what are you waiting for? Go on. I told you to ask me your business question. Send an email to info@empowerme.org, or you can tweet me at Talent Diva on Twitter using hashtag Real Talk. So let's get into the first question, which we have from Desiree from Fort Washington. Desiree says, Dear Adrienne, I've been running my business for the last 5 years. Initially, I never wanted to partner or do strategic alliances because I've always been uncomfortable in having other people partly responsible for my end work. It goes back to school when I would be put in a group to do a project and half of the group would work while the other half fooled around. I know I can relate to that. I've been there. I don't like other people's actions dictating my grades, so I get it. I hated my grade being contingent on other people. That carried over to adulthood, as you can see. I recently agreed to partner with someone I went to school with who was always very on top of things, so I had a false sense of security and believed this partnership would be great. At first, he was communicative. Then I noticed he would promise to send information and I'd never see it. Then he would set up meetings and they'd fall apart just beforehand. The biggest disappointment was our conversations devolved into text messages. Been there too. Then nothing at all. I haven't heard from him since September, but I see him posting on Twitter and Facebook all the time. I even sent an email severing the relationship and got no response. How do I keep this from happening again? Well, here's the thing, Desiree. It's going to happen. In most cases, it can be avoided, but it's going to happen unless you put certain parameters in place before you even start the conversation about partnering with someone. You have to be sure that you're on the same wavelength. It's not enough to say, oh, this person looks successful, this person looks like they're very well organized and they have things together. They can have a whole team behind them that's pulling the strings and making the magic happen, and all they need to do is show up. So never rely on the person themselves to make sure that they're going to commit to their end of the bargain. You don't know what their schedule looks like. The second thing is vet them closely. Talk to some of the other partners that they've worked with. See if they can give you references of people who would be willing to share their information with you or their experience with you. And make sure that you sit down in the very beginning and have clear, defined guidelines. You have to have rules in place. And I'm sorry if it sounds like, children, but I think it was yesterday I saw Beyonce said this. Business, you can't have polite in business. It doesn't mix. You have to be strong. Not to quote Beyonce, but you see what I mean. You have to be from a place of strength, and you have to let them know what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. The moment things start falling apart, you need to call it to their attention. You can't dismiss it as if, oh, well, maybe they're busy. Oh, well, maybe this is a one-time thing. I've had this happen to me several times, and I feel you about the text messages. I think that I love technology, and I love the way we've evolved with social media, but I think it's made us lazy, and we've forgotten common decency and etiquette when it comes to business. A text message is never sufficient. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel. It's always how I've been, bred in business, and to devolve into a conversation with a text message, that's not cool. The other thing is, like I said, you have to nip it in the bud. You have to set the guidelines and talk to the person. If you're in the same city or the same neighborhood, or you're within proximity where you can go over there, go to this person's office and sit down and have a heart-to-heart with them. Sometimes it's just a matter of communicating. But if it gets to a point where you feel like the relationship is just crumbling before you, you got to cut the ties. And you have to, and I tell this to my clients, you have to separate your emotions from your business. Because you can be passionate about your business, you can have emotions about your business, but when you start letting your emotions overrule you, you start making mistakes and you start making decisions that are not in your best interest. So especially women, we need to focus on the business side. Take care of business first. Emotions come second. So good luck to you. I hope things work out with you and your partner, but this sounds like a time where you need to be severing the ties. So hope that helps you with your question. We're going to move on to question 2 next. Okay, question number 2 comes from Anthony in Henderson. I think I'm getting old. You see how I got to hold the iPad? Anyway, ignore that. Anyway, Anthony in Henderson said, and I guess Nevada, that's the only Henderson I know of. Hi, Adrienne. I am part of a family owned construction business that was started by my grandfather, passed to my mother or an uncle, and now has been passed on to me, my brother, and a few cousins. When we inherited the business, a lot of work had to go into rebranding the company. I brought on a few college buddies who had gotten MBAs to see if they could take the business to the next level. About 3 years in, I noticed certain family members who decided to put most of the work on me because I was the smart one, and he put smart one in quotes. I get that. I know I'm the smart one in the family. Anyway, at first, I didn't mind because those family members had a tendency to be lazy. But after a while, it started wearing on me. I ended up having a mild heart attack, and at first, they seemed to want to do their part. 2 years later, we're right back to square one. Wow. It was put in the legal documents and nobody can fire any of the family shareholders. But at this point, it's either them or me. And I know if I leave my family legacy would crumble. What should I do? Can this be fixed where the family can still be a family, but they're out of my hair? Wow. Okay, Kevin, I don't know the law wherever you are, and I don't know how family wills and legal documents work per se. But what I would say is, first of all, you need to have a powwow with everybody who has a direct interest in this business, every family member there is that has a direct interest in this business. You need to sit down with them and explain to them that your health takes priority. Now, I know what it's like to build a business and want to preserve a legacy. You know, I'm the first generation, well, not the first generation, but in this generation, I'm the only one that has a business, and I know that I want to preserve my legacy for my son. So what you should do is sit down and examine the documents that your grandfather and your parents and your aunts and uncles left behind and see exactly word for word with an attorney what it says and what the parameters are. The next thing you should do is talk to your attorney. See if you can maybe arrange a buyout. It's not firing, and I honestly can't tell you about buyouts and things like that, but I don't see why you wouldn't be able to buy them out if you have the cash flow to do that. If you're really interested or worried about them tarnishing the business, bring that to their concern, or make them silent shareholders where you bring in real people, I'm sorry to say it that way, but legitimate workers to come in and handle the day-to-day responsibilities. You shouldn't be taking all of this on yourself, because if you've already had a heart attack once, it means that you have undue burden on yourself and your body. And if we're not physically capable of running our businesses, if we're not in good health, everybody suffers around us and the business is going to crumble anyway. So sit down and talk with your attorney. See if there's a way that you could afford to buy them out, or come up with a plan B strategy and have them become silent partners, and you bring in some talented people who can manage the day-to-day of the business, and eventually start getting an exit plan for yourself. And I tell people this all the time. For instance, for me, I have an 18-month to 24-month game plan where I want to slowly pull myself back as CEO of my company and step away from it day to day and have someone else come in to be CEO of the company while I be the chair of the company and do the things that I want to do for the business, so that way the business can continue to run whether I'm there or not. So think about that. Think about your exit strategy. You don't have to completely divest from the company, but start thinking of ways where you can still oversee, but you have other people running the function who know what they're doing. And no, I don't mean more friends and family members. You're going to have to bring in the professionals for this one. The other thing I can suggest is family therapy. I mean, maybe, I don't know what dynamics your family has, if you guys can talk to one another, or, maybe a therapist can help, but you all need to sit down and start talking. And you, Anthony, you need to get it off your chest, not in a confrontive way, don't confront or combative way, but sit down and talk to them and make them understand the toll that it's taking on your body. So good luck to preserving your business. I don't know if this was helpful enough, but like I said, talk with your attorney. That's number one. Number two, have a family powwow. Number three, bring in people who are smart and qualified, who can run this business and orchestrate a turnaround. I don't think it's too far gone, and I don't know all of the dynamics of the relationship or the business, but if you'd like to kind of share that with me, of course, you're free to send me another email. But I'll be praying for you and hope it works out. And you take care of yourself. Get your health together, because without you, things are really going to fall apart. So that was my Ask Adrienne segment. Thank you guys, Desiree and Anthony, for sending in your questions. And please keep sending in your questions. I love the questions that I'm getting, and you guys are awesome. For more information, check out my website at empowerme.org. Send me email at info@empowerme.org, or call and leave us a message at 866-810-2525. And of course, tweet me on Twitter at Talent Diva using hashtag Real Talk. And make sure you tune into Views from the Top radio show Fridays at 9 a.m. Eastern on Blog Talk Radio. And also Real Talk with Real Entrepreneurs on Mondays. That's simulcast across Empowered for Growth TV, YouTube, and my Google Plus channel every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern. So what's your pressing business question? What's on your mind? What's keeping you up at night? What is it that you would like to ask me about your business that I could help you with? And if you want to go deeper than that, hey, you can always sign up for a consultation or work with me to help you fix your business problem. With that said, I'm Adrienne Graham. You all have a wonderful day. Bye.